Hello everyone, this is the lady.
And this is the kid.
And we literally spent like 15 seconds trying to do that intro. Anyway, most of you are on your second week of high school or school in general right now. And Joseph and I are pretty old people. We are on our sophomore year of college, and we think that we know a thing or two about high school. So we are going to give you some tips on what to do and what not to do. Joseph, are you ready?
Depends. What are we getting into first?
Well, let's start off with drug dealing. No, okay. Just throw something out.
You're probably find that certain teachers aren't as helpful as others, and that you're probably gonna have to teach yourself. Like, really just do everything. Well, maybe not everything on your own, but for the most part, because certain teachers really aren't so helpful. It's definitely something I wish I had known before, because I could have maybe learned more how to teach myself. Of course, you can always find help at school, too. You can find other teachers, too. Like, I knew other teachers that were maybe better that I would try and go to. And, I mean, you shouldn't always have to do that, or, like, you know, you'd hope you'd be able to rely on that teacher, but there are certain cases where you won't be able to, so you'll have to find either other people that can help you, or just different resources.
I mean, the job is to be a teacher, but those... sometimes it's not the way.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a good lesson in terms of life too, just because there are going to be times when, like, you kind of need to figure something out and you're maybe more so on your own, so you have to do a lot more, like find other people that can help you. And I mean, it prepares you kind of in terms of college, because I even had a teacher last semester that was pretty awful, and I had to rely on a lot of different resources, but that didn't even matter, because his test is crazy. But that's beside the point. If you're lucky, you won't have somebody who's creating, I don't know, a means to like test if you're the level of like them. You know, they've been studying it for years. You're studying it for like maybe the third time at my point in college.
Which, by the way, in my opinion, high school does not prepare you for college whatsoever. No, it doesn't at all.
It's completely different.
Literally, I've gone into professor's class and they said, okay, everyone, forget everything that you learned in high school.
Because high school is kind of a joke in comparison, to be quite honest. Like, it doesn't feel that way, and it's not in some ways, just because they do, like, certain places you'll have a good workload, or, like, the test can still be hard and everything. But it's a joke in comparison of, like, the responsibility, kind of. Like, yeah, you're responsible for certain things, but in college it's way more put on you, and like some of the teachers really just don't care. Like, they're just kind of there, and they might help you with a thing or two, but you really have to just study on your own.
Like in high school, the teachers will keep track of everything for you. They'll tell you what assignments you're missing and when you can make them up and all that crap, but yeah. In college they don't. Okay, my tip would be, because I've seen this all too many times, people think that freshman year doesn't matter. Because it's really easy and they just take that time to slack off and do whatever they want. But it does matter. And since you will most likely be taking easy classes, you should probably get A's in those so that it can help your GPA later on if you slip up in a harder class.
I definitely agree with that. And the other thing I would say is, I mean, funny enough, I think in some ways, like for me, I had a really good first year, and then like my sophomore year was terrible. Like, I had a pretty awful sophomore year, but that's also because of my teachers, and that's where I started learning, where I needed to be able to teach myself. Like, literally half of my teachers were awful. Not to scare most of you guys, but that was just kind of my luck. It always depends on the school you go to, too.
I love hearing stories about awful teachers, but I was lucky enough to have pretty good teachers.
I mean, I had a teacher that would stand up in class and just like come up with analogies of like parabolas, which is a math thing where it's like a U-shaped thing on a graph, and she was like, you're either in the pool or you're out the pool, and it's just like, what? Like,
duh.
It doesn't help me. It tells me nothing about the actual like reason behind this thing, like why it shapes this way, or point. Your analogy is silly.
And then you get those teachers that talk about their personal life for the first 15 minutes of class.
Or the whole time, and you end up learning nothing.
I had one econ teacher. She also did martial arts, so she would come into class, and she'd start talking about her martial arts class. Like she's a black belt, so she would talk about her sparring partner, and then she'd talk about her kids and all that. And then she would threaten people in class like, "Oh, I know martial arts," but she was joking. Okay, next tip. So, crap, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh yeah, I read this quote the other day, and it was like, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And I think that that's true, because if you go outside your comfort zone, you can find things that you didn't know that you would like, and who knows, you could end up like making your whole career about that thing. So try new things. Don't be worried about what other people are thinking. Join any clubs if you want to. Make new friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, I definitely agree with that because I broke through my shell probably halfway through high school. Like by junior year, I was way more comfortable with everything, and like I mean, most people would just give me the respect because I would be neutral on the other side, and like there's really no like, there's no problem. Like you could just be yourself, and if you are like, people are, you can be legit. You'll find people that like are still like bleh or whatever, just like mean or for whatever reason, like maybe they think they're above you or something, but those are the people that you're just like, this isn't even my time worth trying to communicate with. It's just kind of pointless.
And with the whole comfort zone thing, I played basketball my freshman and sophomore year of high school, and then junior year and senior year I did marching band, but before I joined marching band, the varsity girls lacrosse coach approached me and was like, "Hey, you should come play lacrosse. I know you play basketball, and defense the same thing, blah, 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 blah." And I like wanted to do it. I was interested in it, and he told me that he would teach me, but I knew nothing about lacrosse. And he wanted me to go to tryouts because, I mean, I basically already made the team because he told me I would, but he said that I'd have to go to tryouts and just do the drills with everyone. But I didn't even have a lacrosse stick. I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know how to pass the ball or anything, and I just thought that I would just make a complete fool out of myself when I show up with these other girls that have been playing for years and not know a single thing. And I feel like lacrosse is something that I would have liked to do, and I regret not doing it.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Yeah, that's another thing. Really, like try and go out and like do some of those school activities. Like I didn't necessarily do enough of that. Try and make up for lost time later on. But I mean, if you can, even if you're not super into some of the sports, it's not even necessarily about that. You go, you have some friends, and you go out and like you just have a good time. Be it I don't know, a football game or anything else you can try and like support your teams and try and support everybody, because everybody, I mean, like I know people in the marching band, like they did phenomenal jobs in all their like productions, and I mean people wouldn't even necessarily just go out specifically to support them sometimes, but I feel like they should have. And there were certain people that would, and they would be like, okay, that was actually kind of cool. But I mean, it's not like enough, and there should be more people supporting not only them, but like all different things.
I agree. Like with the whole marching band thing, I feel like marching band was one of the best decisions I've made, because I joined it and I started out being like all shy and everything, but it really broke me out of my shell, and I made so many new friends there, and it was just like, it was really fun. And I still talk with the friends I made in high school today, like 2 years after being out of high school. I still have all these friends. So if you actually like be yourself and find friends that have common interests with you, and they can become lifetime friends. And instead of pretending to be something just so you can hang out with other people, you're gonna end up being alone.
Yep, I agree completely, because I literally had a party yesterday with people that I hadn't seen probably in 2 years. I can compare to how she joined in junior year in marching band. I joined something at my school that they started doing, which was called science research, where you basically had your own research project, your own path, and anything you can do. But I really was surrounded by people that had all these different interests, I can't talk, in science and different fields in it, and they all had something else they were doing, but we were all pretty similar. Like we had like a decent passion for what we were doing there, and we became kind of like a family, and we got to meet up yesterday. I mean, not everybody could make it, but it was really just kind of something cool, because those are the real friends when, like, I don't know, haven't seen each other 2-3 years, and it's like you were talking just yesterday.
Yeah, so if you just stick with people that have common interests with you, it can really turn into something amazing. Because I know with basketball, I wasn't really happy with being around those girls because I didn't really have anything in common with them. They were all kind of, I don't know, they were in that air quote popular group or whatever, and I didn't really have that great of a time with them. But when I joined marching band, everything changed.
Yep. And I mean, that's the other funny thing that, like, realistically, people try and, like, in high school, it may seem like in some ways like, oh, there's a popular group, or that like there's a clique or something, and in some ways there is, but it's only imaginary. There really like isn't in reality, and you realize that when you get out of high school, because it's like it just doesn't exist. Like, you can talk with anybody if you want to, you can be who you want to be, and they either will try and meet that same thing to you, or if they don't, like, again, you don't have to try and even waste their time on it. But like, if you want to talk to somebody but you think they're better than you, don't let that stop you, because that's only in your head. You can talk to them if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, after high school, like, if you try so hard to be a part of a group and you graduate high school and you look back on it from college, you'll see that was such a waste of time, because after high school, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, those groups, and it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying something about not doing your homework at lunch?
Oh yeah, beforehand. Yeah, we kind of got in the habit of that at some point, because we would have a class after lunch, and we would just maybe do all our homework for classes that were before lunch, the night before, but then we would do the rest of the homework at lunch when we got to school. And it wasn't always bad, but it's not a good idea.
And plus, lunchtime is like the best part of the day, so
Honestly,
I felt really bad wasting my time doing all of my homework during lunch.
Yeah, there were times when, like, I didn't even necessarily finish it, just because I was just like, I don't feel like doing this, and I want to, like, have this time with these people, because the rest of the day is going to be kind of a little more annoying. Not always. I mean, you have classes where, like, it's kind of like you can talk and stuff, but it just depends. But lunch is really the best, so you should try and enjoy it and not leave yourself work to do. Just do it the night before. If, like, and you put a lot of stress on yourself too, like, you're just kind of rushing to, like, do it, and it's more annoying. Why put yourself in that position? You should just do it before, and you don't have to worry about it.
And who knows, maybe one of your teachers will give you an assignment that's due at the end of class, class that you had before lunch, and they give you an assignment and it's due before the end of class, and then if you didn't finish it, they might say, okay, bring it back to me by the end of the day. So then you'll have to be doing a bunch of assignments throughout your day, just trying to get it done.
Yeah, that's another thing. Oh yeah, and don't try and do work in other classes either, because that really takes away from, you kind of like might get behind in the other class, or like you miss something important, and that really can come bite. Like, you might have spent one thing that they talked about in one class that like you missed, and like it's a bigger portion of what, like a test or something, and you're like, what? I didn't remember this, but it was during, well, I don't know, you were distracted. And that's another thing. Don't get distracted with like phones and other technology. Like, maybe to a certain degree, yeah, I mean, you could do a text here and there, but don't try and like be on all the time, because it is, for one thing, like disrespectful, but another, like a distraction.
Yeah, I mean, if the teacher's talking, then you can send a text every now and then, but don't do it the whole time. I mean, there will be downtime in a class where you can just do whatever, but I don't know, when you're taking notes or something, you can't really depend on other people, because not everyone takes notes, and some people take really crappy notes.
Both of those are true. I mean, if your class, or if your high schools offer anything that's like AP class, which we have, it's like an advanced placement, I would only recommend this if you're truly good in certain fields. But if you enjoy that class, or you think like you enjoy it, and you can get into that class, I would say do it, because in some ways, when you're in those lower end classes, there will be certain people that don't really want to be at school. Like, they're just a distraction, or they're rude to the teacher or whatever, and like these people just really don't care about the material. And like, if you actually want to get some experience out of it, or I don't know, like for me, I really like biology, and I took honors biology, which that was like a step a little above of like regular, but you still had certain people in there that like took away kind of from what you're learning or the experience. So the next year I took AP, and when I was in there, all these people are in there to learn. It's like, in some ways, some of those classes are even harder than like college level classes. that's why I'm saying, like, you only take it if you're truly good in the class. Like, I got an A in honors biology, so I can take it. But that's just from me because I took some AP classes, and like when I was really good in that class, it made the experience better. Like, I actually could enjoy the material, and like there wasn't so many people ruining the class per se.
I'm just gonna talk about school fights because honestly, if you get in a fight, it's really not worth it. It can ruin your whole record and everything.
I mean, school fights. I mean, fights aren't a great way to solve anything anyway. Like, I mean, if there's a point where somebody comes at you and like you have to defend yourself, that's different. That is totally different and understandable. But like, try and actually like defend yourself and maybe not necessarily harm the other person. And this, I'm meaning this like, if you're, especially in school, because you know you can get in less trouble if you're just like defending yourself and not actually hurting the other person or anything. But yeah, violence, I mean, it can be senseless. Like, you can try and solve things in another way, and I mean, it always depends on the scenario, but violence is usually never ever the answer.
One of my teachers said that two girls got in a fight one year, and one girl was literally bashing the other girl's head onto the floor, but the other girl wouldn't do anything because she didn't want to get in trouble. I guess if you lay your hand on someone else, then that's also you can also get in trouble for that. But if you just do nothing, like, you're not gonna look cool if you win a fight or anything like that. It's like people forget about it within a day, and then but you still have issues with your record and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look great in some ways anyway. It's like, I don't know. Even like if you won the fight or anything, like other people aren't necessarily going to think so much differently of you, or maybe even higher of you. And some people might even think like that's just stupid. Like, why did you do that, kind of? Like, because you know they think the fighting is kind of pointless too.
I think that is all for this video. We might make a part 2. We might do other videos like this. Who knows? But thank you so much for watching.
We appreciate it. Of course, do the obligatory thing that you would want to do if you enjoyed us. You can rate, comment, and subscribe. And if you didn't like us, well, okay. We tried, I guess.
That's all we can do.
Yes.
And we will keep trying.
We appreciate anyone who watched.
And who might have picked up something from this.
Yeah. I actually learned something from it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.